I never imagined my life could collapse in an instant. One moment, Adrian was laughing across the table, brushing my hair behind my ear. And the next, I saw the message. I froze, phone trembling in my hands. "Hey, are you okay?" Adrian's voice sliced through my panic. I looked up, forcing a smile I didn't feel. "Yeah, just something weird popped up on my phone." He leaned over, eyes narrowing. "Weird how?" I swallowed, heart hammering. I found a message. From you and Lila." Adrian's laugh was too quick, too forced. "What message?" "You know exactly what message," I snapped. "The one where you're planning behind my back." He leaned back, arms crossed, smirking. "I think you're imagining things." "Imagining things?" My voice cracked. "Are you seriously trying to gaslight me right now?" Lila appeared from the hallway, holding her coffee like she hadn't just schemed behind my back. "What's going on?" she asked innocently. "You know what's going on," I said, my hands shaking. "The two of you plotting against me? Talking about me as if I'm invisible." Lila blinked, tilting her head. "Plotting? You must be joking." I laughed, bitter and raw. "Joking? My own best friend, my lover. Behind my back laughing, planning. Do you even hear yourselves?" Adrian ran a hand through his hair. "It's not what you think. You're overreacting." "Overreacting?" I shouted, voice rising. "I read the messages. Every word. You, both of you, betrayed me." Lila took a step closer, voice soft but laced with condescension. "I didn't betray you. You're blowing this way out of proportion." "Blowing it out of proportion?" I repeated, my stomach twisting. "Adrian, you told me you loved me. Lila, I trusted you more than anyone. And you?" I couldn't finish. The lump in my throat made it impossible. Adrian started, but I cut him off. "No. Don't say anything. Just stop lying." Lila's smile was small, smug. "I don't know why you're making such a big deal. It's nothing personal." "Nothing personal." Those words hit harder than any punch could. I staggered back, gripping the edge of the counter. My chest ached, tears blurring my vision. You're both monsters," I whispered. I can't do this anymore." Adrian reached for me. "Please don't go. Let me explain." I shook my head violently. "I don't want your explanations. I don't want your excuses." Lila tried again, voice sweet and dangerous. "Come on, we can fix this. We can talk." "No," I shouted, stepping back. "I'm done listening to lies." I turned, gripping my bag, feeling my hands tremble as I walked out. Every step away from them felt like a crack in the walls I'd built around my trust. The cool evening air hit my face, but I barely noticed. My mind replayed the messages, their voices, their smirks. I realized something terrifying and liberating at the same time. My perfect life had been a lie. And the first sting of betrayal wasn't just heartbreak, it was a spark. A spark that would grow into fire. I clenched my fists. One day I promised myself justice would find its way. And I wouldn't be the naive girl they thought I was. I locked myself in my apartment and didn't answer the phone. Not Adrian's, not Lila's. I needed silence, though even silence felt like betrayal. "Are you ignoring me?" My roommate's voice came through the door. I didn't answer. "You can't just disappear," she said. "I can," I muttered, though no one was there. My reflection in the dark window looked foreign, hollow-eyed, broken. I couldn't stop replaying everything. Adrian brushing his thumb across my hand, whispering my name, smiling as if I were the center of his world. That smile had been a lie. And Lila, her laughter, the way she leaned close during secrets, her eyes hiding something sharp. Maybe I'm imagining it, I whispered to myself. Maybe it's all my fault. A memory stabbed me. Adrian canceling plans last minute, telling me it was work, and Lila's eyes glinting in amusement when I complained. I had laughed it off, told myself I was overthinking. "No," I said aloud, voice shaking. "I wasn't imagining it. They lied. They laughed at me. My throat tightened. They used me." I grabbed my journal, flipping to a blank page. Writing helped, even if it felt futile. "Dear me," I scribbled. "Don't trust too easily. Don't give away your heart so freely." The phone buzzed. "Adrian." I stared at the screen, fingers trembling. I need to talk to you," his text read. I typed back, "Not now." Hit send before thinking twice. Minutes later, Lila called. Please answer, she begged. I can't, I whispered. You're overreacting, she said. Even over the phone, her tone was sharp, clipped. It wasn't personal. Not personal. My voice rose. You called me your best friend. You lied to me. You betrayed me. Stop screaming, she snapped. You're making this worse. You're the one who's making it worse. I yelled, pacing. Every word, every secret. You both planned it. And my voice broke. I trusted you. There was a long silence, broken by her sigh. I didn't plan it like you think. Adrian he's complicated. You wouldn't understand. I laughed hollow. Complicated? Betrayal is complicated now. You don't get it, she yelled. You never saw the pressure, the things we were dealing with. I saw nothing. I snapped. And that's why I trusted you. Click. She hung up. My hands shook, my chest ached. The apartment felt too small, too suffocating. I sank to the floor, pressing my head to my knees. I have to survive this, I whispered. I can't confront them yet. I need space. My words faltered. I need me. Hours passed. Every shadow reminded me of their smiles. Every sound of their voices haunted me. I tried to remember the good, the laughter, but every memory now felt tainted. I realized I had underestimated how deep the betrayal ran. I hugged my knees, thinking about Adrian's pride, Lila's calculated charm. They had been playing me, and I hadn't noticed until it was too late. But a tiny spark remained. A thought whispered in my chest. I will survive. I have to. For now I would hide. I would heal. And when I emerged, I would make sure they could never underestimate me again. I was sitting in the park, head in my hands, when I noticed him. A man maybe in his late 20s watching me from across the path. He had this calm air, like he could see straight into the chaos inside me. Rough day? He asked, stepping closer. I jumped, clutching my bag. Who are you? He smiled faintly. Someone who's been where you are. I frowned. What does that mean? Pain. Betrayal. Feeling like the world collapsed on you in one instant. His eyes were steady, unwavering. I can help. I laughed bitterly. Help? You don't even know me. I know more than you think, he said, sitting on the bench beside me. I know what it feels like to be underestimated, to be broken by people you trusted. How? I started but stopped. My voice caught. Why are you telling me this? Because, he said slowly, I see fire in you. Most people crumble. You don't have to. Not if you choose. I shook my head. I can't trust anyone. Not after them. Adrian? Lila. His voice wasn't accusing, just understanding. They hurt you. And rightly you want justice. But rushing never works. Patience gives power. Power. I echoed. I just want them to feel what they did to me. He nodded. And they will. But first you need control. Control over yourself, your mind, your emotions. I studied him, unsure. And you're supposed to teach me how? I guide, he said simply. The rest is yours. You need to see the world differently. People like them, they thrive on weakness. Show them you have none. I don't know if I can, I whispered. You can, he said firmly. I didn't say it would be easy. But you can. I wanted to argue, to push him away, but his words, they struck something inside me. A small spark I thought had died. And if I fail? You won't. Not if you decide to rise, he replied, leaning back. Trust isn't blind. It's earned. Watch, observe, learn. Use what you know to regain your life. I swallowed, heart racing. Why are you helping me? Maybe I see myself in you. Maybe I see potential wasted on anger. He smirked faintly. Or maybe I just like seeing people rise from ashes. You're strange, I said, a small laugh escaping me despite the heaviness in my chest. Strange people survive, he said simply. The predictable get crushed. Adrian and Lila? They're predictable. You're not. I felt something shift inside me. For the first time since the betrayal, I considered a future where I wasn't just a victim. Where I could fight back smartly, carefully, decisively. I don't even know your name, I said. Ethan, he replied. And you'll learn eventually that some strangers arrive for a reason. Not to fix everything, but to hand you the tools to fix yourself. I nodded slowly, gripping my bag tighter. Tools, yeah. I think I'm ready to see what I can do. He stood, brushing off his coat. Good. Patience first. Then action. Remember that. The fire inside you. Don't let it burn out, but don't let it consume you either. I watched him walk away, feeling lighter and heavier all at once. Lighter because someone believed I could rise. Heavier because I realized the road ahead wouldn't be easy. But I knew one thing. I wasn't helpless anymore. Not completely. I clenched my fists. I'll take back my life. And they'll see me stronger than ever. I didn't answer Adrian's calls, didn't glance at Lila's messages. Instead, I focused on myself, my career, my body, my mind. Another late night at the office? My colleague Mia asked. I'm catching up, I said, forcing a smile. I've got a lot to prove. Mia tilted her head. You've always been ambitious. Now more than ever, I muttered. Inside I felt a thrill. Every small victory, an email well received, a client impressed, felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. During lunch I saw Adrian with his friends laughing too loudly. Look at him, I whispered to myself. So proud. So blind. Who? Mia asked. Someone I used to trust, I said, keeping my tone light. Doesn't matter. I watched Lila post online, flaunting a glamorous party. I frowned. Careless, I muttered. So predictable. Mia glanced at me. You're staring a lot lately. Everything okay? I forced a laugh. I'm just observant. By evening I was in the gym, pushing myself harder than ever. One more set. I whispered to myself, feeling my body burn, my mind sharpen. Discipline became my new weapon. You're improving fast, the trainer said. I have to, I replied, my voice steady. There's no room for weakness. Later I sat at my desk reviewing plans, thinking. Adrian's arrogance was evident even from afar. He overextended himself at work, showing off to the wrong people. Lila's overconfidence was clear too. She underestimated everyone, including me. I see you, I whispered to the empty room. I see all your cracks. The next day, I bumped into Ethan unexpectedly at the cafe. Progress? He asked, eyes assessing. I think so, I said. Small wins. But I can't relax yet. They're careless but dangerous. Dangerous when blind to consequences, he said. Patience strategy. Use your observations. I will, I said firmly. I can feel the pieces coming together. I'm stronger than before. You're learning, he said. Good. Don't forget. Resilience is just as important as intelligence. I nodded, feeling a spark. I won't forget. Every move counts now. That night I reviewed emails Adrian accidentally sent to me. Glimpses of his arrogance plain in his words. He's making it too easy, I murmured. And Lila's social media posts. Every flashy picture, every boast, every careless comment was a sign. She thinks she's untouchable, I whispered. But she's just walking into her own trap. By the week's end I felt a shift. My reflection in the mirror no longer seemed hollow. I saw a woman alert, calculating, ready. Look at you, I said aloud. Stronger, smarter, dangerous in ways they'll never imagine. I stretched, feeling my muscles burn from the gym. But it wasn't just my body, it was my mind, my focus, my clarity. Each day I reclaimed a piece of control. Each observation sharpened my strategy. I'm not the same girl, I whispered. Not anymore. I thought of Adrian's smug face, Lila's careless laughter, and smiled faintly. Not with joy, but with quiet satisfaction. I was rebuilding. Slowly, carefully, unstoppable. I was sitting at my desk late when my phone buzzed. An anonymous tip from someone I barely knew at work. You've got to see this, I whispered, opening the email. Financial statements, private messages, everything Lila and Adrian thought I wouldn't find. I couldn't help muttering. How could they be so careless? My phone rang. Ethan's name flashed. Found something? He asked immediately. Yes, I said, heart racing. They've been lying, hiding money, manipulating friends, even trying to claim my position at work. That's dangerous, he said calmly. And predictable. Predictable. I repeated, scanning the documents. Lila's planning to take my clients, my resources, even my contacts. Adrian, He underestimates me completely. You've always been underestimated, Ethan reminded me. Use it. Let it work for you. I bit my lip. It feels good. In a way. Like I finally have the upper hand mentally. Good. Don't let it slip, he warned. You have to control your emotions. Rage is a tool, but only if used carefully. I nodded, though he couldn't see me. I can do this. I need to. Later, I called one of the coworkers mentioned in the messages. Are you sure about this? She asked nervously. Yes. Every word matters. Did Adrian really approve this deal behind my back? Yes, she whispered. He didn't think anyone would notice. Lila made sure I kept quiet too. Why are you telling me? I asked softly but firmly. Because you deserve to know, she said. You've been too trusting. I couldn't stand watching them manipulate everything. Thank you, I said. Really? I'll handle it carefully. Nobody else needs to get hurt. I hung up, taking a deep breath. Rage mixed with satisfaction. I wasn't powerless anymore. Every lie they told, every deceit they planted, was now a piece of my strategy. That evening, I met Ethan at our usual cafe. They're more exposed than I realized, I said, spreading the documents between us. Lila thinks I won't see through her scheme. Adrian doesn't even suspect me. Ethan nodded. Perfect. Now you know where to move. Watch, wait, and strike carefully. Never be rash. I'm not going to be rash, I said, feeling a surge of control. But I will take what's mine. Good, he said. Remember, your strength isn't just in confrontation. It's in observation. You've learned what they hide. Now learn what they fear. I will, I whispered almost to myself. They thought I was naive, weak, blind. But I see everything now. I've been patient, I've been quiet, and it's finally working in my favor. Ethan smiled faintly. Pride blinds them. You've learned patience. That makes you dangerous. I clenched my fists, a shiver of satisfaction running through me. I'll make sure they regret every careless act, every smug smile. They'll see me rising while they crumble. He nodded again, as if approving my silent vow. Exactly. Keep your head clear. Every step calculated. I left the cafe with a steady heart and a mind sharper than ever. I realized something. They thought they were in control. They thought I was still the naive girl who trusted too easily. They're wrong, I whispered into the night. Very, very wrong. And for the first time in weeks, I felt excitement instead of despair. I sat at my desk, fingers hovering over the keyboard, heart racing. The information I had gathered on Adrian could ruin him, just subtly enough to avoid suspicion, but enough to shake his perfect image. Are you really going to do this? Ethan's voice came from the phone. Yes, I whispered, a smile tugging at my lips. It's time he felt what it's like to be underestimated. Be careful, he warned. Even small moves have consequences. I know. I took a deep breath, then sent the anonymous tip to the right contacts. Emails, reports, internal whispers, all pointing subtly to Adrian's mismanagement and arrogance. Nothing direct, nothing traceable to me. Minutes later, I leaned back and exhaled. It's done. Now we wait. The next day at the office, I overheard whispers. Did you see the report? One colleague asked another. Yeah. Adrian messed up the Thompson account. How could he? I pressed my lips together, fighting a grin. Karma, I thought. Slow, satisfying, unstoppable. Later, Adrian stormed into the conference room, voice sharp, eyes flashing. Who leaked this? He demanded. No one answered. I want answers, he barked. This shouldn't have happened. I bit my tongue, keeping calm as Ethan had advised. I let the chaos unfold. Adrian, a colleague ventured carefully. Maybe it was a misunderstanding? The data could have been misfiled. Misfiled, he shouted. I check everything myself. Who's sabotaging me? I felt a thrill, even as a pang of sadness cut through me. Seeing him confused and rattled was empowering, but part of me still ached for what we had been. At lunch, my phone buzzed. Ethan. You did it, he said simply. Yes, I replied, barely able to contain the smile. I watched him spiral for hours. Subtle but effective. Good. Remember, you're gaining control. Don't let it blind you. Your focus is the key. I won't, I whispered. Every move is calculated now. I can't let emotions ruin this. By afternoon, Adrian's pride began to crack. I watched him pace in his office, muttering, snapping at anyone who came near. "What's wrong with him?" one coworker whispered to me. "He's under pressure," I said casually, voice calm, hiding the satisfaction simmering inside. That evening I replayed every moment in my mind. The fear in his eyes when he realized he couldn't find the source. The doubt creeping into his posture. It was intoxicating, like seeing a masterful play unfold exactly as planned. "I'm learning," I whispered to myself. "I can do this. I can reclaim everything." Yet, even as adrenaline surged, a twinge of guilt lingered. I shook it off. This wasn't cruelty, it was justice. Subtle, precise, untraceable. Adrian's arrogance had always blinded him. Now I had leverage, insight, control. "Keep moving forward," I muttered. "This is just the beginning." By the time I left the office, I felt a strange mixture of empowerment and pain. Empowerment because I finally saw myself as capable and cunning. Pain because I realized how much betrayal had reshaped me. I walked into the night, thinking of Adrian's faltering confidence. He still had no idea I was the one orchestrating the first ripple of consequences. And a small victorious smile curled across my lips. This is only the beginning. I waited calm as the room filled with colleagues, clients, and a few familiar faces from Lila's inner circle. Everyone thought this was a routine presentation. Only I knew it was anything but. Lila strutted in, her usual confident smile plastered on her face. "Ready to impress everyone?" she asked, voice dripping with false charm. I sat quietly observing, feeling a thrill coil in my stomach. "Lila," I said, standing and pointing to the screen behind her. "There's something you need to explain." Her smile faltered. "Explain what?" "The budget discrepancies," I continued, my voice calm, deliberate. "The clients you mismanaged. The emails I have here show your manipulations, attempts to claim credit, and even the way you tried to undermine me." The room went silent. Gasps rippled through the crowd. That's..." Lila stammered, her composure cracking. "You can't prove." "I can," I interrupted. "Everything is documented. And I'm showing it now." Someone whispered. "Is this true?" "Yes," I said, pulling up the documents on the projector. "All of it." "I suggest you answer honestly." Lila's face turned red, her hands trembling. I didn't." "You did," I said softly, though every word felt sharp. "And your accomplice, Mark, knew about it too." Mark, a quiet man from accounting, shifted uncomfortably. I just followed instructions," he muttered. "You just followed instructions?" I echoed. "Manipulating my clients, sabotaging projects, spreading lies? I didn't know it would go this far." Lila shouted. Her voice cracked, anger and panic mixing. I just wanted control." I asked quietly, watching her unravel. "You wanted to control everything, but your arrogance blinded you. Now everyone sees your true self." Adrian appeared in the doorway, eyebrows furrowed. "What's happening here?" I didn't turn. Lila's schemes are exposed. All of her manipulations, every deceit. Mark corroborated it. "And this," I gestured to the documents, "is proof." Adrian's eyes flicked to me. You did this?" "Yes," I said. "I prepared this carefully. Subtle, undeniable." He ran a hand through his hair, clearly shaken. She never told me it would be this bad." "Didn't you notice her carelessness?" I asked quietly. "Her arrogance? Overconfidence? It was obvious if you'd only paid attention." Lila was shaking now, her mask completely gone. You're going to ruin me," she hissed, voice trembling. "I'm not ruining you," I said. "You did that yourself." Mark's shoulders slumped, guilt written across his face. I'm sorry," he whispered. I exhaled, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and lingering guilt. This wasn't cruelty, it was revelation. But seeing her panic, hearing her unravel, I felt the weight of it. Adrian finally stepped forward, voice low. "You've changed. I can see it. In how you handle everything now. I underestimated you." I didn't respond. I just watched as Lila's empire of lies collapsed, every glance around the room confirming her deceit. My control, patience, and careful planning had shifted the balance. Sometimes, I whispered to myself, justice isn't loud. It's subtle, precise, and unavoidable. Even as I felt the satisfaction, a small part of me whispered unease. How far was too far? But that thought faded, replaced by resolve. I was learning to wield my power, and no one, not Adrian, not Lila, would ignore me again. I found him in his office, pacing like a caged animal. The tension in his shoulders, the tight line of his jaw, it all made my pulse quicken. Adrian, I said, stepping in calmly. He whirled around, eyes flashing. What are you doing here? I think it's time we talked, I replied, voice steady. No tears. No trembling. Just precision. Talk, he scoffed. About what? About honesty, I said, walking closer. About your pride, your arrogance, and how it's finally catching up to you. He laughed nervously. You don't know what you're talking about. I know enough, I said, letting my gaze pierce him. I know about the client meetings you sabotaged, the emails you thought I'd never see, the lies you spun to cover yourself. Every move you made, I noticed. He swallowed hard. I don't know what you're implying. You do, I said softly. You know exactly what I'm implying. His voice faltered. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing again. You can't, this is insane. Insane, I echoed, stepping closer. No, Adrian. This is reality. You underestimated me. You thought I was weak, naive, blind. But I've seen every crack in your so-called perfection. Every flaw in your pride. He froze, eyes darting around. What do you want from me? Control, I said, smiling faintly. I want you to understand that your arrogance has limits. That your mistakes are visible. That I paused, letting the weight of my words sink in. I am not the same person you left behind. He flinched. You can't do this. I already have, I said quietly. You're scrambling, panicked, grasping at explanations because you finally see me. Really see me. And it terrifies you. His fists clenched. I didn't. You didn't think I'd notice, I interrupted, calm, precise. You didn't think I'd remember the details. But I did. Every meeting, every whisper, every careless lie. I watched. I waited. And now, I let my voice soften. Now it's your turn to feel the pressure. He stumbled back, suddenly aware of how alone he was, how powerless. His pride, which once gave him confidence, now betrayed him. I could see it, the cracks spreading, the uncertainty that hadn't existed before. You're changed, he muttered, voice low, almost a whisper. Yes, I said, stepping even closer, letting my presence dominate the room. Changed, stronger, precise. I'm no longer the girl who trusted blindly. I'm the woman who sees everything and calculates every move. And you, Adrian, are finally realizing it. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. I don't. I'm not here to argue, I said. I'm here to show you what your arrogance costs. The clients, the reputation, the respect. You thought you controlled it all. You didn't control me. And now, everything you thought was secure feels unstable. That's what I've created. He sank into his chair, gripping the edge, eyes wide. You're ruthless. Not ruthless, I corrected gently. Calculated. Patient. Observant. And finally, in control. I turned, walking toward the door, letting him absorb the weight of my words. His empire of pride was crumbling, silently, psychologically. And I, calm, precise, and unshaken, felt a deep, quiet satisfaction. This is only the beginning, I whispered to myself, smiling faintly. I had just left the cafe where Ethan and I usually met when my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. You shouldn't have pushed so far. I froze. My pulse spiked. Adrian and Lila had always been clever, but this was bold. I barely had time to process when a car screeched around the corner, blocking my path. The passenger window rolled down. Lila's smug face leered at me. Going somewhere, she taunted. I clutched my bag tighter. Lila, this is stupid. Step back. Her laugh was sharp. You think you've outsmarted us? Think again. The driver, a man I vaguely recognized, Mark, the accomplice from before, revved the engine. You won't get away this time, he muttered, eyes flicking to Lila. I took a step back, heart hammering. You're insane. Both of you. Maybe, Lila said, grinning dangerously. But desperate people make desperate moves. And you've made us desperate. I reached for my phone, dialing Ethan. Ethan. It's them there. The line went dead. Panic hit, but I forced myself to breathe. Focus, I whispered. You've survived this far. You can handle it. Stop talking, Mark snapped, slamming a hand on the hood. Get in the car. I don't think so, I said, voice steady despite the terror clawing at me. Lila's eyes narrowed. You're going to regret that. A car horn blared behind me. A figure stepped forward, Mia, my coworker, loyal and discreet. Get in. Now. I didn't hesitate. Sliding into her car, I felt adrenaline surge. Thank you, I gasped. No time for thanks, she said, slamming the door and peeling out. I looked back. Lila's expression twisted with rage, Mark's jaw clenched. This isn't over, Lila shouted. I know, I muttered, gripping the seat. And I'll be ready. Once we were a safe distance away, I exhaled, heart pounding. That was too close, I whispered. Mia glanced at me. You need to be careful. They're dangerous and desperate. I can't always be there. I know, I said, swallowing hard. But I'm not the same person they underestimated before. I survived. I learned. I'll stay vigilant. She nodded. Good. But don't forget, they'll try again. I won't, I said, voice firm. Every move I make from now on has to be calculated. No more mistakes. Sitting in the car, I thought about how far I'd come. The girl who cried over betrayal would have panicked, screamed, begged. But now, I survived an ambush. I felt fear, yes, but I also felt strength I didn't know I had. This is just another test, I whispered to myself. A warning. And I'll heed it. I have to. Mia glanced at me again, reading my resolve. You're different now, she said softly. Yes, I admitted. And I have to stay that way. I can't afford to let my guard down. Not for a second. The city lights passed by in a blur, reflecting my thoughts. Every step of this journey, the betrayal, the planning, the subtle victories had led me here. I realized something crucial. Revenge wasn't just about outsmarting them. It was about survival. And I will survive, I whispered, gripping the edge of the seat. No matter what they throw at me next. I watched it unfold from a distance, sipping my coffee as the news alert popped up on my phone. Adrian's latest project had collapsed spectacularly. The financial mismanagement I had uncovered earlier finally spiraled into public failure. Oh, Ethan's voice came through the phone, calm but observant. Looks like pride finally met reality. I can't believe it, I said softly. It's satisfying, but it still hurts to see it go this far. That's the thing about karma, he said. It's not revenge, it's consequence. You didn't create it, you exposed it. They brought this on themselves. I nodded, though I felt a pang of lingering guilt. I still can't help feeling responsible in a way. Watching them fail like this is bittersweet. Bittersweet is normal, Ethan replied. Remember, patience is key. You've guided the process, but nature of consequence does the rest. Later, I overheard whispers in the office about Adrian. Did you see the announcement? A coworker asked. He's lost almost everything. The clients, the investors, all because of his arrogance. I smiled faintly, keeping my expression neutral. Inside, I felt a strange mix of vindication and melancholy. Every misstep he made, every moment of pride, had contributed to this collapse. And Lila? Ethan asked when I called him that evening. She's falling apart too, I said. Her schemes are unraveling. People are finally seeing through her charm, her manipulations. She's panicked, scrambling to cover mistakes she never accounted for. You've been patient, he said, letting things unfold naturally. That's why this is so complete. Your restraint made their downfall inevitable. It doesn't feel complete, I admitted. Seeing them hurt. I expected satisfaction, but it's mixed with, I don't know, sadness too. That's morality, Ethan said. Justice doesn't always feel sweet. That's why your control matters. You're learning balance. You're not just seeking revenge. You're understanding consequence. I exhaled, leaning back in my chair. I've come a long way. The girl who cried over betrayal would have jumped straight into anger, into confrontation. Now, I understand. Patience, observation, restraint. And the results are evident, he said. Adrian's arrogance, Lila's overconfidence, they're crumbling because they ignored the warning signs. You didn't need to force it. You just needed to be ready. I keep thinking about how differently this could have gone, I whispered. If I'd acted impulsively, if I'd let rage guide me, you'd have lost the advantage, Ethan said. Control is more powerful than immediate action. You've mastered that. I thought about Adrian's shocked expression the first time I confronted him, Lila's panic during her public exposure, the subtle tremors of their pride cracking. Every moment had been a lesson in patience, precision, and morality. It's strange, I said softly. I feel powerful. And yet I feel empty too. The thrill of victory doesn't erase the pain of betrayal. That's life, Ethan said. It's never pure satisfaction. But you've balanced your morality with action. That's what makes you strong. That's what makes you capable. I nodded, closing my eyes for a moment. The chaos around Adrian and Lila was proof that consequences don't need hands to strike. They unfold naturally. And I, patient and careful, had simply positioned myself to witness them. Patience. I whispered aloud, feeling a deep calm. Patience and balance. That's the path forward. I stood at the doorway, Adrian and Lila seated across from me, eyes wide, tension crackling in the air. You came here? Adrian stammered. His voice cracked, pride shattered. Yes, I said, voice calm, unwavering. I needed to see the end of this for both of us. Lila's smile was gone, replaced with panic. You don't have to do this, she hissed. I think I do, I replied, sitting opposite them, meeting their gazes. You underestimated me. You betrayed me. You thought I'd crumble. But I didn't. Please, Adrian said, leaning forward. We can fix this. We can. Fix this. I interrupted, tone sharp. Do you understand how much you've destroyed? How many lies, how much manipulation? Do you think a simple apology erases that? Lila shrank back, voice trembling. I didn't know. I wasn't thinking. You weren't thinking. I echoed softly, watching their fear deepen. You were selfish, arrogant, careless. And now, I paused, letting the words settle. Now you face the consequences of your actions. Adrian's fists clenched. You don't have to enjoy this. I don't, I said quietly. But I will acknowledge it. I won't lie and pretend this feels good. I've felt betrayal, heartbreak, rage. I've lived it. And now I watch you face the natural outcome of your choices. That is justice, not cruelty. Lila's voice broke. Please, we can make amends. Anything. Anything. I repeated, leaning forward, eyes steady. You can't erase what's done. You can't take back the manipulation, the lies, the pain you caused. You can only live with it. Adrian's chest heaved. You're cruel, he whispered. No, I said softly, almost kindly. I'm free. I'm strong. And I've chosen my path carefully. Not vengeance, not malice. Justice. Balance. That's the difference. I could see it, the panic, the shame, the recognition that their arrogance, their overconfidence had failed them completely. The clients lost, reputation shattered, respect evaporated. They had nothing left but the weight of their choices. Lila tried to speak, but I held up a hand. Don't, I said. You've had your moment. Now it's mine to release myself from this pain. To stop letting you control my emotions. Adrian's eyes searched mine, silently begging for some mercy I wasn't offering, because mercy wasn't about weakness. It was about clarity. I'm done, I said finally, standing. Done with fear, done with betrayal, done with letting you define me. I leave you with what you've earned. Nothing more, nothing less. They slumped in their seats, defeated. Lila's hands trembled. Adrian's pride had collapsed into quiet despair. I stepped back toward the door, feeling the weight lift from my chest. For the first time in months, I felt light, unburdened. Ethan's words echoed in my mind. Justice is patient. Balance is liberation. Yes, I whispered to myself. Justice. Balance. Liberation. Before leaving, I looked back one last time. No triumph in my eyes, no vindictive smile, just clarity. The storm was over. I had survived. I had won. Not with cruelty, but with precision, restraint, and patience. As I walked into the sunlight, I finally felt free. I walked along the quiet streets at dawn, the city bathed in soft light. Everything felt different, lighter, freed. Ethan's voice echoed in my mind from our last conversation. Justice is patient. Balance is liberation. I whispered to myself, yes, balance, liberation. I stopped at a small cafe, ordering my usual. The barista smiled at me. Long time no see, she said. Just needed a fresh start, I replied, smiling faintly. I took a seat by the window, watching the city wake up. My mind wandered over the journey, the betrayals, the heartbreak, the careful strategies, the confrontations. I realized how much I'd grown. Mia joined me, carrying 2 coffees. You look different, she said. I feel different, I replied, taking the cup. Stronger, wiser. I've learned what matters. Trust must be earned, pride blinds, and self-respect priceless. She nodded. You earned all this the hard way. Yes, I said softly, staring at my reflection in the window. And I'll never forget it. But I'm done looking back with pain. I've closed that chapter. You think you'll be happy now? Mia asked cautiously. I think I already am, I said. Not because I defeated them, not because karma caught up, but because I survived and became someone better. Someone who knows her worth. A gentle breeze brushed my face. I breathed deeply, feeling the weight lift from my shoulders. I remembered Adrian and Lila, their arrogance, their carelessness. No vengeance needed, nature had done its work. And I was free. I hope they learn, I whispered to myself. But I won't waste energy hoping for it. Ethan's voice came to me again, almost like a reassurance. You've done more than survive. You've mastered yourself. I smiled, a small genuine curve of my lips. Yes, I said quietly. I have. I looked around the cafe, strangers laughing, couples chatting, life moving on. And so would I. A subtle warmth in my chest reminded me that life still held possibilities. Friendships, work, maybe even love. But now, on my terms and with boundaries I would never compromise again. Mia reached over and squeezed my hand. You're ready for whatever comes next. I am, I said, feeling the certainty settle within me. And I will face it with my head held high, my heart guarded but open, and my mind clear. I took my last sip of coffee and stood, leaving a tip. The streets stretched ahead, full of light, promise, and opportunity. I whispered to myself one final time. I survived. I learned. I am free. And this is my new beginning. A breeze caught my hair as I stepped forward, smiling. Not at revenge, not at victory, but at life itself, ready for what it would bring.